Hey everybody, Leah Klett here with the Christian Post, and my guest today is actor and music artist Dennis Quaid. We are discussing his brand new gospel album, Fallen, a gospel record for sinners.
Hi, Leah. How are you doing this morning?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Good.
Well, Dennis, I'm excited to talk to you about this album and about your testimony because you are so vulnerable about your past, your struggles with addiction, finding redemption in Christ. And I really enjoyed watching your interview with Bill Gaither. And you mentioned that you were raised in a Southern Baptist church,
Mhm.
but as a teenager, you became disillusioned with the church and you started dabbling in Eastern religion, in drugs to really fill that hole in your life. So take me back and share a little bit about your testimony and your path to saving faith in Christ.
It was great talking with Bill too, because Bill is he has a way of opening people up, and he's such an incredible human being as well. But yeah, I was like I said, I grew up in the Baptist church, and with Sunday school just about every Sunday growing up. And I guess I became disillusioned with the church. I think I'd forgotten my quarter or what one Sunday, and the teacher was like, uh, Sunday school teacher was, I really admonished me about that, and it, I don't know, there's something about it that just turned me off. There's probably some other things too, and I was probably asking questions that I didn't really have the right answers for as well. And um, but anyway, I started to. This was in the '60s, and then a lot of people were asking questions back then, and I think I started to question my faith. When you're a child, that's uh, it's actually the purest place to be. Children get it more than adults because faith is something that is just a part of you, and it's not based necessarily on logic. And you know, that's the way truth is, really, of us as human beings. And so I started to read other read other texts and stuff like that. It started with a book called Siddhartha, which was I guess the story of Buddha disguised in a novel. From that I read the Dhammapada, I read the Quran, I read all of the Bhagavad Gita, but because I was a seeker, I've always had that spiritual side of me. It's deep. It's a part of me. It's who I am. And but I read the Bible cover to cover as well back then, and I think I got hung up in the Old Testament about how violent it was and how God seemed like a punishing God uh, back then to me, and a lot of it just didn't make sense. And I also that's a story everybody knows. I got involved in cocaine and stuff like that, and got myself clean in 1990, and um, that's when I came back to that hole inside me that that just doesn't get filled up by those things. And I went back and I read the Bible again, cover to cover, and what really struck me that this time were the red words of Jesus and about who he really was, and that was the beginning of my personal relationship with Jesus Christ. And that's really what it's all about. And it's from there it's grown. And it does fill up that hole uh, inside me. And it was there all along. I mean, my mother told me that, but we have to learn things for ourselves. And so, that's what led me right back to where I started.
So, how does your faith impact the projects that you do take on? Because your career is so interesting to me. You're involved in so many of these uplifting, family friendly projects.
Well, I have that, and because I I like to express that. I think it's very important. I think there's a hunger for that uh, today with people, and I've been actually kind of surprised by that. Like I can only imagine the success of that. It's not a Hollywood movie, and I think Hollywood is, in a way, I think they don't they don't understand their audience anymore,
Hmm.
and uh, people do want to go to the movies to feel things and and you can't just discount the spirit, and people hunger for that. And so these stories are really getting a lot of traction these days. That's very gratifying. I'm also right now I'm playing a serial killer.
Ooh.
Uh, yeah, the happy face killer. And because as an actor, it's about understanding human beings and what makes us tick.
Mhm.
And um, so that's an interesting part to play. I don't restrict myself to things because I I learn things about every part that I play about myself.
You have a new gospel album out called
Mhm.
In a Gospel Record for Sinners, which I love because you're reminding us, hey, you're a sinner too. You're listening to my album, you're a sinner,
Yeah.
all sinners. How did you approach the process of naming this album and selecting the songs for this album?
Well, I like to say in my show that I call it a gospel record for sinners because I wanted the largest possible audience. But I wanted it to reflect me. I didn't want it to seem like churchy, or that it's preaching, or that everything is just uh wonderful. And um so yeah, I thought it could wanted to reach people that maybe don't aren't in that world as well, as well as people who are in that world, because we're all sinners, and it's by grace that we're saved, and that's free. It's redeemed. So it means by free, we actually don't deserve it, but we get it by grace anyway. That's what I want the songs to reflect. That the record is, as a total, I guess, is a really story of my spiritual journey.
Is there significance to the order of the songs as a reflection of your spiritual journey?
Yeah, and that wasn't. I didn't really think of that when I was doing it. It was my wife who really came up with the order uh, of the songs. Because she knows me pretty well, and there's a structure there uh, with it, going from this life to that, to uh, the other life, the beautiful life.
Well, Dennis, you are a household name. You are in so many incredible films, a part of so many incredible projects. How has Hollywood responded to you being so vocal about your faith and about God's saving hand in your story? Have you faced any backlash for that?
No, I don't. Not yet. Not really. Um, I think there's a spiritual awakening actually going on in our country right now. And there's been a lot of turmoil, and that's what spiritual awakenings look like, because of what it takes to get there. And I think we're right at the beginning of it. And it's, I would say backlash. Maybe it's, a lot of people don't understand it, uh, or they don't see it, and they don't even know about it, or whatever. But it's it's. I know the reaction I've gotten out in the middle of the country when I go out there, and here in California too, the places I play. I played Greg Laurie's church out here, which
Okay.
was that was fantastic. Went to the Riverside Church and the other one as well. It was the first time I ever had like a 5:30 in the morning sound check. So, but and but yeah, it's the people, the audiences that they get it.
Mhm. What type of reaction have you gotten from this album? Because I listened to it and I mean it's such a compelling album. It does you can't listen to it and not feel something after immersing yourself in these words. What type of reaction have you gotten?
Really, really great reaction to actually, and different people liking different songs that they relate to, and that's really what I wanted to do, was to touch people and have them relate to the music, maybe seeing themselves in it.
What was it like emotionally for you choosing these songs, singing these songs? Was that a spiritual experience? What was that process like?
Yeah, a lot of it was because I wrote. See, I think I had two of the songs. I had Fallen written before, and On My Way to Heaven I had written way before uh, I did the record. And then the other songs, that composed by me, they were I wrote while we were doing the record, and so there was a lot of reflection in that, and really uh, delving into my own story, my own spiritual story, and my relationship with God, and the the other traditional songs were songs that I grew up in the Baptist church uh, listening to, and that I remember being a kid. And the Lord's Prayer I have in there because when I was a kid, television stations, they didn't stay on 24 hours a day. They would actually sign off at the end of the day, and there would be a test pattern, that you look at for until they came on in the morning. But right before that, when they were signing off, they would play the Lord's Prayer with Bing Crosby uh, singing it, and it was going through the clouds. I guess it was kind of like the very first music video, really. But that was the sign off every night. So that's kind of why I did a version on my own, put that in there. Because the Lord's Prayer actually, was written by Jesus
Mhm.
himself, yeah, that he gave to his disciples to teach them how to pray.
Was that a full circle moment creating this album and going back to your childhood, going back to those early years in church, hearing the scriptures?
Yeah, that I've read the Bible, like, I think 4 times just straight through. I refer to it a lot when Bible study and devotionals and things like that. But to read it straight through and just feel it as a whole, and I think that's a lot where the songs came out of, and inspired by. Every Everything that a human being can feel, any act that he could do, there's nothing that happens in life that's not in the Bible. And
Mm,
sometimes when we read it, we don't even understand it because sometimes we haven't experienced those things.
mhm.
And um, that's what rolls over me about it, and I think that's why it's different every time we read it, because we're at different points in life. And I don't know if I answered your question with that, but that's really kind of how it influenced what I was doing.
Well, I love that you say that because the Bible is alive and active, right? We are going to get something different every time we read it. I'm so curious, having read the Bible through 4 times, what is your favorite book of the Bible or your favorite passage in the Bible?
Uh, I in the Old Testament is Solomon. What is it? Ecclesiastes, that where Solomon is talking about how his life, looking back on his life, and uh, I like the Book of John actually in the New Testament. Uh, I think John actually wrote it. He lived older. I think he was the oldest, well, the last one to go. John,
Mhm.
in fact, and I really feel uh, the mis the mystery and of Jesus. And I feel the person and the power that is there. And it's in the beginning there was the word, which is sound, which is music, which is a vibration, and that's what I think that Book of John brings uh, together physics
Mhm.
and the spirit, and explains it in a timeless way.
Mm.
And it points to a bigger truth that we have no words for.